All right. Hey guys, this is Yoda. This will be a yap about the most recent affix post by Blizzard. They're removing half of the affixes plus spiteful, keeping the on death affixes, and they're adding four more. So we'll go over the changes real quick and what they are. So they're removing the +4 affix bucket, which is afflicted, incorp, entangling, storming, and volcanic. They're keeping raging, bolstering, bursting, and sanguine, and they're deleting spiteful. So real quick feedback about that. In my opinion, the literal future of WoW depends on them reversing that decision and keeping these five, this bucket, and removing this bucket. And I'll tell you why. So, first of all, the balance between these affixes is pretty equal. All of them are like -1 talent point, -1 brain global, and -1 actual global when they go off. Pretty much all of them are exactly that. Uh, so that's a really good balance. It doesn't matter if it's entangling, incorporeal, afflicted, storming, or volcanic. You're going to be affected a little bit, but it won't really just completely ruin your key usually. Like there's some weird storming things, and obviously afflicted sucks because only half the classes can deal with it. But these are very minor issues compared to the massive issue, which is the affix balance in the +7 bucket. So basically, the way it is now on live, if you play live keys, then you would know this. Every week that's not bursting or spiteful is not push week. You basically wait for bursting or spiteful, and then you push the highest keys you can do. And then on the other weeks, you just like do friend keys or play other games or sales or something. Raging is terrible because basically it has three modes. One mode, your evoker is a god, and it's just not an affix. Second mode, you're fighting a mini boss, and it's not an affix. Third mode, you don't have an evoker, or they use their soothe the wrong way, and it's just an instant wipe on the pack. Why is my evoker's skill level basically determining if I succeed or fail this key, and not even his full skill level, just his ability to push a pressing roar at the right time? Also, I heard they nerfed Overall, so actually what's going to happen is either you're playing double evoker, or you're wiping every time the pack's hit raging, or you're just not zoning in, which is what's actually going to happen. Okay, so that's raging. Then bolstering and sanguine. Nobody likes dealing with these affixes. Nobody likes watching your tank fucking either die or run away when like a big bomb gets 10 bolstered or the pack gets like 3 bolstered. Nobody likes watching an archer sit in sanguine. Nobody likes making your tank deal with having to kite the mobs. So frost mage is unplayable. Destrolock is losing a gajillion damage. Anything that depends on ground effects just can't play the game. No one likes dealing with that. And you can, as anyone who has access to statistics or the Raider IO leaderboard could see, no one enjoys playing the game on sanguine or bolstering or raging. Right now, you can only play on bursting or spiteful, and after they remove spiteful, it's going to be you can only play on bursting. So yeah, the balance is terrible here, and also like these affixes tend to just be way more unfun in general. Like even bursting is like the least bad of all of these by a lot, but even bursting is really not that fun to play around, to be honest. So yeah, basically after this change, you can only play the game on bursting week if you care about score. So that's a really bad change. I hope they reverse this. Please reverse this, Blizzard. Literally, the future of WoW depends on this. All right, now we'll go over the new affixes that are coming in to replace those. So we've got Reckless, Thorned, Attuned, and Focused. So Reckless and Thorned make non-boss enemies without mana do more damage, or they're buff. So these inflict physical damage to their attackers, and these ignore 20% armor with their attacks. To me, this reads like Thorned is kind of just going to be free, like either free or unplayable. There's no way they balance it to be like perfectly balanced. I think what's going to happen is you're just going to put Leech on your gear and call it a day for this one. If it's any harder than that, then like the pugs won't be able to finish the key and there'll be a riot. So Blizzard will make it so that you just put Leech on your gear and that's it. Reckless, basically your tank takes 20% extra damage. If your like tank is really good against physical, then this is probably fine. Like, warrior bear, or if it's just a low key or tyrannical, then it's probably fine. But I could see a lot of tanks suffering from this, like paladin in particular is probably not going to have a good time on this. And then also, while attached to these is the enemies take extra damage from something. So Reckless Week, it's going to be physical and arcane. This is about 10%. Armor reduced by 30 is about 10% damage, according to my sources. Thorned Week, it's going to be totally and shadow damage. Attuned Week is going to be nature and bleed, and Focus is going to be frost and fire. These also attuned and focus only buff caster mobs with mana. So this makes them do 20% more damage. This makes them have 30% increased haste. These are both kind of scary in the same way. I think the 30% haste is scarier, but you know, everything is, both of them are scary in their own way. My main issue with this, so I actually like the fact that they're, well, I think Thorned is probably going to be a balancing nightmare, but the rest of them I actually think are kind of interesting. Like they make different ways, different like talents in your tank tree a lot more interesting, or your utility tree / disruption. Like maybe you really have to play double silence on this week, or like disrupting shout or whatever, or like both of these weeks, and then like this week you can spec out of it and play more defensive or something. So I think these are good concepts. But I do not like this arbitrary increased damage taken from some type of damage. Basically, this is just forcing you to want to play a certain, like, I think Blizzard has in their mind that you're just going to change your talents based on what type of damage the enemy's taking, but that's not how this is going to work. You're going to be changing your class, and by changing your class, I mean you're going to be either sitting on the bench if it's not your week, and then only playing 1 out of 4 weeks. Then you combine this with the fact that they are deleting the wrong bucket, and out of these 4 weeks, only bursting is playable. So now it's just if bursting like if it's going to be focused bursting, then you know frost and fire classes are going to be meta. If it's attuned bursting, then assassination rogue is going to be meta. If it's reckless bursting, then like whatever does arcane damage and physical damage is going to be meta, etc. Because it doesn't really matter what keys you do on non-bursting weeks. On bursting week, you're just going to do a higher level. The way things stand now. So you better hope that if they change nothing, which, you know, please Blizzard change something. If they change nothing, then whichever one of these your class lines up with is with bursting, you are now meta for that season. So yeah, great concept. Yeah, my suggestion would be please delete the correct bucket, not this one. Please delete this one. And then also, if they're going to, you know, die on this hill, which they probably will die, they're going to die on this hill, then at least remove these damage amps. These are horrible design. Not smart at all. All right, end rant. Thanks everyone for watching. Peace out.